Let's switch over to you, Jalingo. First of all, we have to say sorry over what happened to you. I don't know whether I should be the one saying sorry. But you know, what else does one say anyway? But it's a pity what happened to you. To be dragged by road, you know, from Lagos to Calabar. It must have been a harrowing experience for you.
Well, it was like every other day, and some people came and said they were policemen and they were going to take me away without a warrant. And I was removed from my house. My wife was there. She asked them who they were. They wouldn't answer her. So
did you ever imagine, because I know you were preparing to travel to Cross River State to honor the summon of the police, did you imagine that they were going to come for you the way they did and not wait for you to go to them?
Yes, after I wrote that I was going to go, they kept calling me. I was getting calls from the governor's younger brother, Martin Orim, the chief of staff, and a couple of them in government who were obviously threatening that they were going to arrest me. And then, of course, the commissioner for finance. I'm aware he was in Lagos. His name is Asuko Ekwenyo, one of the youngest in the cabinet, just about 29 or 30 years old. I think they are the ones that are directly affected by my allegation. So they are panicking. They came to Lagos to pay for the logistics of my arrest.
Oh, I see.
I want to use that language. And they came to the IGP Intelligence Response team, Abakari's office at the Kejajari. That's where they arranged my arrest, and they sent men from that particular office who came to pick me up. I offered to buy tickets, they refused. Flight tickets, they said we must go by road, and it took us 26 hours.
26 hours?
Yes. For some part of the journey, I was in handcuffs, and along the road, I was unchained, and we made it to Calabar. And I think I need to give credit to you people, because when the information came out, it was on TV that I was being taken to Calabar. If not, I'm not really sure what they wanted to do with me on the road. But the information that was already out that I was being transported to Calabar also helped a lot, because at the point on the road, sincerely speaking, I was scared about what they wanted to do with me in the middle of the night. But we arrived Calabar. I was moved to the anti-corruption. In fact, the government officials, Governor Ayade's officials, were gathered at Transcorp Hotel. So even when we got into Calabar, they took me to Transcorp. And they were cranking glasses. Obviously, they have brought the man they were looking for.
But they took you to Transcorp?
Yes, they took me to Transcorp.
Took you there to do what?
The commissioner was there. Commissioner of Finance was there.
As a
yes, the chief of staff was there.
Present you before Pontius Pilate.
Yes, in chains, yeah, in handcuffs. So when they saw me, they were trying to contemplate whether to take me to the state CID or the anti-cultism unit at the cultural center. Eventually, they called a patrol team from the anti-cultism and handed me over to them. They drove me to their facility at the cultural center, and then took me into their charging room and handcuffed to a deep freezer. My two hands were handcuffed to a deep freezer, and I was there for about 2 weeks. And they kept bringing documents for me to sign. Documents that Liberals referred to in one of his interviews that I watched after I came out from prison. They called it terms of settlement. I was going to be given money, I was going to be given an appointment in government, I was going to do this, I should retract some of the things I've been writing, commit myself not to criticize Governor Ayade again. A long list of ridiculous demands, and I told them I wasn't going to sign anything. And they told me if I don't sign, they will charge me for treason. So I decided to go for the option of treason. Charge me to court because I won't sign those things. They kept me for 34 days. Because I wouldn't budge, they took me to court. I took my plea. And I guess they were very, very happy when the judge said I should be remanded in prison. And that was how the journey in prison started for me. And after 179 days, I'm back home to continue from where I stopped.
I believe you must have heard what the governor himself, because when he went to see President Buhari, just I think weeks before you were released, he went to see President Buhari, and of course journalists accosted him. Let's take a listen to that.
The same Agba Jalingo who is in jail, I sent him money. I called my chief press secretary and the rest. I said, look, the journalists will never understand that Agba Jalingo is the chairman, is the state chairman of Suarez party. Please ask Agba Jalingo. That Cross River Watch, the first person to give him money to set up the office is myself. The vehicle, the official vehicle, is myself. I don't want to list all of those. He knows that I have funded him and have supported him. But journalism stops when blackmail becomes part of your strategy. Today you need something. Ayade is a good man. You write all the good things. But if I was to take my phone and show you our WhatsApp communication, you will tell me I'm a man sent from God. When you don't get one thing right, you go to social media and write something as careless as Governor Ayade has taken 500 million to Russia. You impugn my father's name, my character, my family name, for just a personal request that you have not met, out of many that I have met. Please, for once, put yourself in my shoes.
You had the governor there. What would be your reaction to some of those allegations he leveled against you?
Let's assume we're not conceding that the governor is right that he opened Cross River Watch for me. Was he giving me bribe? Is there any law or ethic in journalism that says that if your senior brother gives you something, anytime it's wrong, you shouldn't tell him again? That's assuming that the governor is correct. Then Nigerians should ask him whether he was giving me bribe or he was giving me those things in anticipation that he will do wrong and I will not be expected to criticize him. Cross River Watch started in 2012. Ayade was not governor. He has no idea how Cross River Watch started. You can ask Charles Carlo, my friend, and myself, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Ugbon, who discussed the idea of Cross River Watch. And of course, I discussed it with Shore in the office to say, okay, I want to go try something like Sarah Reporters in Cross River.
I remember you telling me. I remember you telling me.
Yes, and all of that.
You
and
asked
how is that?
All of us to go back to our
yes,
states.
I told Libor, I said we should start, let's go and start dogging after our governors and see how we can make them more responsible and responsible. And I don't know where Governor Ayade was. Then I wasn't even talking to him. He became governor in 2015. He called me when he wanted to run for election and started talking with me. So I don't know how somebody would say he opened Cross River Watch for us. A platform that he never even liked. I know that he gave money to people to start Paradise Voice, several of them, to fight what we were doing, as a matter of fact, because they couldn't achieve what they wanted. Because I came with a lot of experience from Sahara. We came to teach others because that was my prayer. And then, of course, the governor said he bought a car for me.
Yeah.
Now, the governor, after his campaign in 2015, donated one of the old Sienna buses that they used for his campaign to the Association of Cross River Online Journalists. I'm not even an ESCO in the Association of Cross River Online Journalists. And it is written on the vehicle. Association of Cross River Online Journalists. This vehicle was donated by Professor Ben Ayade. I've not driven it. I have not in my life. It's about 4 years now. I have not driven the vehicle. The governor does not know the car I drive. He doesn't know. I'm saying that in public that he doesn't know. So if you donated a car, an old vehicle, to a crutch, it's like donating a vehicle to NUJ or to NMA. Then at every opportunity you have, you open your mouth and tell the public that you bought a car for me. I can't imagine why an adult, the governor, will lie seamlessly. You wake up and you just want to lie. and then, he told some of the lies, and the following day he came and started retracting that. I blackmailed the former governor who started. I'm sure that Imoke must have called him to say, what is the meaning of that nonsense? Go and retract it. And then the following day he came and concocted that apology. But that is the kind of person we have in the Cross River State Government House today. Somebody who lies effortlessly,
but
has been lying about even the way he's running the state, the management of our finances for the past 5 years. I supported him initially.
Exactly. I was just going to ask you. We know at some point you were very close to this governor. Libros, you can attest.
Yes, we had issues.
It is true. I confirmed that myself.
We had issues with
Super Highway, Rice, and it was when I went to Calabar. Remember, I called you and I said,
you called me.
That's this governor that you said had all I see around is a billboard, and that was when you said, well, I thought that he was coming on board with.
And we also know that at some point you also traveled with him, abroad for, like during the Rice project. You were very. So what exactly happened? Because the insinuation out there is that, look, something must have happened between you. Maybe you were probably
the money will stop coming,
and that you were not getting whatever it is you were not getting from him, and clearly the governor insinuated that in his response there, that's the reason why both of you fell apart.
See, the thing I need the public to understand is that Governor Ayade doesn't even give anybody money. If he lies that he's giving anybody money, it's a lie. Not just me, he's lying. Number two, I'm not the only one that Governor Ayade has arrested in the past 5 years of his government. He has arrested several other persons, and I will give you, I don't know whether those people were also blackmailing him. He started with Benatus Sikam 6 months after he became governor. Benatus, who incidentally is in the same, back in PDP with him now, was in APC and was very critical of this governor. He went and got a magistrate, procured a warrant, declared him wanted, and started running after Benatus Sikam. He ran him out of town and he wouldn't come to Cross River State until he had the first team to come back to PDP. After that, he went for Ife Paul. Ife Paul is a very well-known critic of Governor Ayade in Cross River State. Just like me, he sent policemen, they trailed him to Abuja, arrested him, put him in handcuffs, and dragged him by road from Abuja to Calabar, where he was arraigned by the immediate past Attorney General, Joe Shabang, for writing things on Facebook against the governor. After Ife Paul, they went for the publisher of Fearless Reports. His name is Peter Inyali. Incidentally, too, that one too has been appointed as SA Media now to the governor. He visited Obudu, his hometown, where we all come from. And he was attacked by appointees of Governor Ayade, appointees who are holding office. They attacked him, beat him up, tore his clothes, and he incurred some injury. He reported that matter to the police. But the police swept it under the carpet because the people that were involved are government officials. He didn't stop there. Agents of government sent people to go and attack another critic of Governor Ayade, Dr. Joseph Odok, who also incidentally was in prison with me. We were in the same cell. And that was the second time of the Governor Ayade running after him. That first time he was attacked and stabbed. The police called it an attempted assassination. It's still an active investigation going on. And the three suspects in that investigation is the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Martin Orim, the immediate past State Security Advisor, Jude Ngaji, and an official of the state-owned security outfit. They call it Green Sheriff. They are the people, the matter was moved from Calabar to Abuja, and they are the three suspects in that matter. In fact, that is the reason Joseph Odok was arrested the second time. Because the government people want to intimidate him to go and withdraw that matter from the police, and he has refused. So they came for him and also charged him for treason. Was he also blackmailing Governor Ayade? They came for me only as an afterthought, because my wala became too much, and the governor felt that I'm his brother. Last year, during the campaigns, the governor moved 4.3 billion naira from local government accounts for his election. I called him privately and I asked him. He didn't deny that he didn't withdraw the money. He simply said that he was withdrawing the money for quick win projects in the 18 local governments. He appointed 18 caretaker chairmen.
And we just couldn't
And we didn't see any money. When I accused him, he now sent his deputy governor.
You didn't see any project?
No project, because the deputy governor went round and all we saw was red carpet to commission traffic lights, and it became a national embarrassment. It was at that point that he sent me a text message, which I have already published. I will confront you with the figures, I will arrest you, prosecute you, and send you to jail.
And he didn't confront you with the figures, but
he didn't confront me, but he arrested me. So it has nothing to do with our personal issues. It's just that I started asking him questions. And that feeling that there have been occasions. Let me tell you the truth. When the governor is my brother, like he said, when my mother died, for instance, he sent a delegation led by the chief of staff to my mother's burial, who came with a cash donation of 50,000 naira. There have been occasions when Cross River Watch wants to do an event, and we call him and say, bros, can you help me procure the venue of the event? We are doing it at Transcorp. He does that for me every time we are doing those events. But I want to say that I didn't know that he was giving me bribe when he was doing that. He never counted money for me to put in my pocket. He hasn't. I started paying salaries before I became governor. I'm not a rich man, but I've been struggling and paying salaries. He talks about best. He doesn't even know. He said, I asked him for money to open a computer school. I don't have a computer school. So the governor was lying. Governor Ayade should stop talking about those things. Let him tell Cross Riverians where our 500 million naira that was meant for the microfinance bank is. What he did with the 4.3 billion naira that he withdrew from the local government funds for his second term re-election. And stop talking about whether he gave me A or he gave me B. I think he should be ashamed of himself. If I have a brother that is a governor, even if I wanted money, won't he give me? Won't he give me?
Maybe if you had signed those undertakings by now, you probably would have been SA or PA.
I can't even work with him. He wants me to work with him. I can't because he's too impulsive. He's not methodical. And then when you look at his budget titles, those are the craziest things. From the first one, budget of deep vision, budget of infinite transposition, budget of kinetic crystallization, budget of Kabbalistic densification, budget of Olympotic meristamesis, budgets of 1.2 trillion in a state that barely earns an income of 50 billion naira a year. Our allocation hovers between 1.52 billion naira every year from FAC. IGR is 800 million to 1 billion. So if you add everything, it's less than 50 billion naira. And then you wake up, Lagos makes 33 billion as IGR every month. Their budget is 800 billion. You that makes barely 50 billion in a year, you are telling us 1.2 trillion. That is hallucination. You are sick. And all these things add up together to make me know that we have a jester in Peregrino House. We have a man who, how can I go and work with that kind of man? I would rather work with a man that is methodical, somebody that plans. Once you are in public, I will turn Bakassi to Lugano. I will cut my left hand. You make ridiculous promises in public, forgetting that you are an executive governor whose word must always be held to account. My only regret, Deji, is that I didn't start criticizing Governor Ayade on time like I've done in the past 22 years. I became an activist. Ayade wasn't in politics since Abacha days. He's a beneficiary of my struggle, our struggle. He cannot chase me. He cannot change my career at the twilight of my life. He cannot. He simply doesn't have the capacity. He's an intern. In the next 3 years, he will leave. We will still be here. I will still be here as a journalist. I will still be here as an activist. We are the ones that will tell his story. I regret that I didn't start criticizing him on time. That is why I opened my flanks and gave him the opportunity to say the sort of things he's saying today. If I had started on time, if I had started with him dogging after his heels from the onset, I think very sincerely that he would have done better, and our relationship would also have been better. So I'm fired up, and I think that this time around I'm not even going to give him any breathing space. But I can assure the public that I will continue to be factual, and I will stay professional in whatever I will do.
Jalingo, the case is still in court. I mean, he's definitely still going to court. But you look at the charges against him. What do you make of it?
It's obvious because this is a matter we have all closely followed. We've spoken on from the beginning. It was that an anonymous petitioner wrote a petition complaining that the microfinance bank has been defamed. And I wondered where defamation became a criminal offense. And then subsequently, we heard, that Agba Jalingo criticized President Buhari. I think they tried to drag President Buhari into the matter. And when that didn't fly, then the next thing they said he had a relationship with Showore, and they were planning to overthrow President Buhari. And then when you say...
They also said he was planning to overthrow the
governor.
He would catapult him.
Yes. and then once for me, because it was obvious that it was all orchestrated, just put a charge that would be difficult for the judge to grant bail. So, the judge would say, my hands are tied. But when Showore was released, and then, people started shouting, okay, if you tie him with Showore, the federal government has released Showore.
Him of treason.
Here you are, a PDP government, and that one is APC government. They are accusing him of treason. How is he going to overthrow Cross River State government when you still have a government at the center? And so it became obvious that all of their charges would fall flat on his face. I think shamefully, the governor, for the first time, came out and started talking, all what we heard him saying now. And then subsequently, we all saw the arrangement. The judge returned the file to the admin judge. And then the federal government took over the prosecution of the matter. And, so what I think the state government is actually looking for a soft landing. Because this is like a shame that had, exploded in their face. And so they are looking for how to... otherwise, I don't think they would have come with all the, the memorandum of understanding that they came asking him to sign in the return for appointment. Because, in Nigeria, people see appointment as, an opportunity to take a bite from government.
There's a dearth of leaders in our state, dearth of courageous and radical people who are reformists. Our state, where most of us are conformists. We are very, very conservative in Cross River State. I would love to go into a position of responsibility tomorrow, but certainly not under a governor like Professor Ayade. There's a lot of corruption in the government, and the man is too domineering. He doesn't want any second opinion. He doesn't want to conduct local government elections. We had to force him to do what he's doing. Remember, we went to court asking for an injunction, barring him from using council funds pending the conduct of local government elections. It's one of the reasons he's trying to conduct the local government election. And it's also one of the conditions I was asked to fulfill, to go and withdraw that matter from the vacation court in Port Harcourt, and I refused. And all of this, I can't work with this man. He has already become an embarrassment, even for the Obudu people. And so I am ashamed. He wakes up 8,000 appointees who don't even have a table. You don't have a table. He calls it the Ayadesian theory of expanded government. He calls you any name, no designation. He has 26 media aides. All of them SA media, all of them. And then you sit down in your house. At the end of the day, you just get an alert of 100,000 naira or maybe 120 at the end of the day. Sitting down in your house. There is no table. There's no job specification. I feel very, very embarrassed. I've told him several times, even if you want to dash people money, please can you start a social security scheme like N-Power and be sending money to these people that you want to give money, rather than calling miscreants and criminals SA to governor, senior special assistant, cultists, known gangsters that we know. Some of them are my classmates. I know them. They are known gangsters that I know. I can point to their face and tell them they are SAs to governor. Some murderers. Some ex-convicts who have served their jail terms, he's appointing them as Under Imoke, under Donald Duke, if you were called an official of government, you have prestige, finesse, you have something to offer. But this one, he has said it himself because it's food on the table appointment. That he wants to put on food on the table of every cross-variant to make sure no child goes to bed hungry. With titles, without security clearance, you call these people government names and you want me to go and work in that environment. And simply because I decided to raise a voice. Then you come for me and arrest me and go and lock me up. And you are so cowardly, you can't even own up to your actions. That is the kind of governor we have. But I want to send a message that he should be prepared for me because I will keep dogging after his heels. I'm not doing this for any reason. I'm doing this because I love him and I want him to succeed. It's an embarrassment to the place we come from. Look at Obudu. You want to build an airport. 2 people have died already. Is that how you want to serve your people? You annex people's properties. You want to pay compensation from the back pocket. And then you send money. A chief was clocked to death in your own hometown. In another 1,178 days, this whole trauma will be over. And he will go. But I tell him something. We will still be here. And it is people like us that will use our pens to tell his history. And I feel very sorry for him.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Libros Oshoma, thank you very much for your time and for your contributions.
My pleasure.
Agba Jalingo, thank you very much for coming. And let me say sorry once again.
Namaste.
And thank God you came back healthy.
That's
the most important thing. Well, that's it on the program. But if you want to watch it again, it's very simple. Just go to our website, tv360nigeria.com. You'll see this program and lots more there. You can also follow the conversation on our various social media handles. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.